Hi everyone, how are you? So I haven't seen anyone for a long time. I have to say that the last few months, since last year, December, actually started in October last year, and I have been dealing with some kind of a health crisis. It's not that serious, but it prompted me several trips. So first of all, went to China in actually February. Yeah, by that time, it was already a pretty full blown. And then after I came back from that, when I was in China, I actually went to the place where Lao Tzu used to teach, and it's a mountain area. And there were a lot of Taoist practitioners over there and a lot of Taoist doctors. So I went there to see somebody to adjust my spine and the neck and the hip and all of that, because I realized that a lot of my problems was caused by the alignment of the spine. Because in 2023, I had 3 falls and broke my tailbone and hurt my 2 vertebrae of my neck. And then also is that I hurt my left knee and the left thigh. And then about 25 years ago, I had a herniated disc and multiple times of bitten by the ticks. So I have a Lyme disease condition. And and that aggravate really the hips a lot because, it attacks the weakest spot in, your body. And then the immune shots had 2 times, even though during the 3 years of pandemic, I actually did not have, COVID. But when last year, I think that partially because of I was born with blood, in many ways deficiency. For example, my platelet number is always low, and also my white blood cell is also very low. Sometimes it's even come down to like 2.3. But I was always in very good health, so never paid attention. And also is that my injuries along the spine, I also never paid attention. At some point, also because when I was giving birth, I caught a cold from an old window facing the northeast, arthritis on my neck, and I never took care of that also. And and that was kind of like how to say is that all of this kind of like exploded on me. So I began to feel was like really, of by the late fall of last year, I felt like, my immune system was really compromised. So everything exploded. So for example, I think that in previous sessions that when I was having conversation with Hannah, I did mention some of the issues, but at that time, I wasn't like 100% sure exactly what was the reason. So I went away for some time and trying to and holistically. And fortunately that I found this Taoist doctor who adjusted my spine, my neck and hip, and got rid of most of the herniation, and not a herniation, like, pressing on the nerves. And then right before I left China, which was February 21st, February 18th, I found, and it was God's given, I found this thing, which is a nutrition. Actually is basically is the 8 most essential glycans that our cells needs or our body needs. And because I was a vegetarian, so been over 30 years, and probably my diet, and I was lack of vitamin B, especially vitamin B12. And for the food that we eat, we get some of the glycans, and but to synthesize of them into protein and also communication with the T cells and all of that. And we need vitamin B, especially B12. And this is something that you can find out on the internet very easily. And even you ask, of ChatGPT or Gemini, it will tell you that. Because this is something that in biochemistry and also in biology and glycobiology, which that, there's a lot of study on that. And also is that actually United States, I mean, of course, is that before 1983, there were a lot of research, already going on in biochemistry, about all of this. But fruition did not really happen until about between 1983 and 1996. But it still is that it's because of that up to this point, majority of the funding is among the food, among natural plants. And the research community has been trying to, develop drugs. But the thing is that any kind of synthesized material, synthesized, of things, and they just do not have the effect like the ones that extracted from the plants, fruits. And so, for example, 8 of the glycans that the scientists found that most essential for our body, and actually is that one of the author and written even a book published by, it's called the Harper's Biochemistry, and where that he talked about the glycoproteins and the 8 necessary glycans that our cells need for cell-to-cell communication and also for synthesize into protein that our body needs. And so this book was very, very essential. And what happened is that these glycans, which also they called, sugars, the 8 essential sugars, they are kind of like antennas that on the surface of the cell. And the main one, which comes from the extract of the aloe vera, and it's not that to say, aloe vera is the only one has the most, concentrated mannose glycan. Like the root and the trunk of these glycans cell. Now, these glycans, they also penetrate the skin of the cell, which that it communicates to the kernel of the cell, of like hairy antennas that on the surface of the cell. And when there's a virus, when there's, any of the toxins and bad elements that come near the cell, these are the ones that receive them right away. And when a healthy person actually is able to obtain two of the essential ones. And one of them is from aloe vera, the mannose, and then the other one is actually from dairy, called gel. And so these two are the essential ones. And a healthy person is actually when you have the right vitamin, like a B and a B12, actually is able to synthesize the other six from these two. But what happened is that at some point, we somehow is that, whether it's our digestion is not good and whether it's whatever it is that prevent us to be able to synthesize all of the 8 essential ones that our healthy cell needs. So what happened is that, and we have, since then, a lot of research has happened. And basically is that, and I first heard this actually from a surgeon who is one of the first Asian, surgeon graduate from Harvard Medical School. And he is basically, like surrounded, it's basically the bad sugar that we took into our body, whether it's from our food or whatever it is, and they're coated with this sugar, the regular sugar or whatever bad sugar. And so the T cell, when it encounters a cell like that, it cannot really recognize whether it's a healthy cell or a half-dead cell, and not able to actually, really do something about it, right? So that's where, these 8, different glycans, how important helps, it makes the communication between the cells and also especially with the T cell, so that, that T cell is for the bad cell right away and then replace it, right? So one of the things, for example, is that what I have learned is that these kind of nutrients, it's most effective immediately. For example, is that what I have used myself and my experience was that because I started to use it February 18th. And the first thing I noticed is that, my spleen and stomach really within 3 weeks just become so healthy. I'm able to, eat cold food and drink cold water and nothing bothers me, right? And that has not happened for already many, many years. And then also later on, I found out that, my bone density was not good. And partially it's because of probably has some 30 years. And also is that, that even let's say in our food, like for example, I eat actually fish at least once a week or twice a week. But the thing is that when your spleen and stomach is not good, you cannot really absorb the nutrient that your body needs. So in my case, even though I have felt like being very healthy, and I was always very industrial. So at Eastover, I do every kinds of works, lifting heavy, things and doing, doing laundry, working in the kitchen. I do everything, right? Mop the floor, But anyhow, is that still is that, and I didn't experience really, illness, almost not in my life. And I usually don't go to the doctor because, I'm confident that I'm pretty healthy. But then, when this, I think it has a lot to do with during the 3 years, that, and also, with the shots and all of that, and with my blood type and blood things, that it definitely, my immune system is really compromised. And I think that's the main reason that toward the end of last year, everything exploded on me. And I was growing, of these things around the joints, and on my finger and also is that on the back, along of my spine. And it was very, very painful. And I was waking up multiple times because of a sciatic pain and also the pain along the back. And I literally have to, like night. And then this is something that my daughter had. And so I use this to put it, next to my spine and then roll it back and forth to relieve the pain so that, I can either get up or go back to sleep. So anyhow, so it was kind of like an accidental finding. It was one of my practice sister lives in Boston, and she had told me about this some time ago. They found out about this about last year, April, and she started to tell me actually at an earlier time, but I never paid attention. And then, toward the end of last year, and I was having much pain. She took like a video of herself that to show me of how much change that she had experienced. And then, from that, I paid special attention to this. So I went on and did a lot of study of, about the glycobiology, and it happened to be that my last job actually before that, I quit my job to stay home to take care of my son and the daughter. And then later on, I went back to work, at Eastover. But the last job I had at the beginning of the 90s, I was working for a biology company that founded by researchers from Cold Spring Harbor. And we were making software for the researchers. And the company is called Protein Databases. Study of, the protein, and DNA reading and all of that was, kind of like at the initial stage that the researchers that they need tools like this. So we were making that. But anyhow, that company later on was bought by a big, biology company. So that was my last job. And I cannot believe that today that I have a chance to actually going back and reading things related to biology, about the protein and about biochemistry, and all of that, even though, I don't really know too much of them, but, they are very, very intuitive to me. So anyhow, and this is something which that I have noticed is that even though that the scientists from 1983 and 1996, they have done extensive study. They were hired by the US government to find the solutions for nuclear burn. And so anyhow, is that since then, it has progressed so much. But I have noticed is that today, there are so many biology companies and also research institutes, including of like MIT, which that they held the first glycobiology symposium actually last year October. Not mentioning that I found out that Taiwan, for example, is one of the most advanced research going on in Taiwan about glycobiology, and in China also is that it's very, very hard institutes who are studying glycobiology. And everyone probably thinks that, the direction that they need to go is like figured out some efficient drug that the insurance company will pay, and then that they can give to their patients for mega money and whatever it is. But I do not know. That is just my kind of like, a glimpse of looking at. And but the thing is that actually is that the American scientists in 1996, they have already came out a perfect product, 100% came from the nature, and they are literally like a Chinese medicine that put it together with many different, of natural, from the natural plants and all of that. And the main, main component or extract, so clean, extract from a major Chinese medicine. Now I understand when we were kids and growing up, we all to be healthy, we will always, give advice, every day, just boil off the box, of astragalus and then drink that as a tea. It has a very, very mild taste. It's a tree bark and it's very clean. And then one of the other major component, of course, is the extract from aloe vera. And that's one of the main component. And so anyhow, the US company, they have like just this first one product, they have like 50 patents. FDA, process, guideline with certifications and all of that. Now, the key is that it's really just like a Chinese medicine, and is being administered in a totally very high scientific way so that it goes directly to the guts, absorbed into the bloodstream, and it improves the immunity, the communication of the cells. And the reason why the spleen and stomach is usually for most people that, sees like a difference or feels the difference, like in my case, is because that the lining of the stomach, it has a lifespan only 2 days. So that means is that in a week, really, changed, that is why is that it can rebuild the house, like kind of, but anyhow is that none of this, cannot be construed as medical advice. It's just that I'm only just saying that, that something like this, 100%, is coming from plants. And so, for example, several other ingredients is seaweed extract, and also an Arab, tree bark, and also is pine needle extract, right? All natural, And the thing is that things like this, we Americans, we barely heard about it. We don't even know, And the only thing you can find, is negative information, And well, anyhow, is that, one of the other thing, which is glucosamine, a lot with that. I remember of in the 90s, took that, but then later on there was kind of negative reports about it. But actually, it's really is that it was really more of is that they are trying to suppress the information. And I think that this is happening too, And so, well, anyhow, is that I'm interested in the science, and I just want to share with everyone the science behind all of this, and so that we can study the science together, and then we can make, like wise decisions and taking control of the health of ourselves. And that's really my whole intention. And I take that as a purpose of my life. I actually is a practitioner, and I understand, most of the time, it's a story, which is that the feeling of pain at the moment, whether that you are a realized person or not, a very highly, accomplished, meditator, you can be in and out of, non-duality any moment. But the thing is that your body is on an auto drive. When your body is on an auto drive and your body do not have a good foundation and you have pain, that every moment of your pain, that is real. Everything else is not real. It's stories. And even the pain it is a concept. It is a reaction of the body. I mean, you can go and train yourself and then, you just bypass and you just say, my pain is enjoyable. Well, you can try that. But I tell you is that it affects the quality of our life. And that is why it is important that we pay attention to our body. Because you know why? You can be in a non-dual state, but you know what? Your body is on auto drive. And you cannot just not care about your body. Well, of course, is that some of the people, if they can really 100% let it go, okay, then of course is that it is possible that the nature force, that the whole energetic field of the whole might able to actually adjust you and then realigning the energy of your body. But at the same time, a lot of the people in moments like this, they get scared. And some of the people that they lose life in this kind of moment too. Okay. But anyhow, is that, because I have been practicing for a long time and I have been with people who have experienced a lot. So I know a lot of the reactions that the people have when they are enter this state of what we call the non-duality with the whole. And basically is that our body is on an auto drive. Well, that auto drive can be on a joyful direction, and it also can be in a painful direction. So I'm going to just conclude here. And I'm so happy that I'm able to come back and then talk to everyone again. All right. Okay. Thank you very much.